And it's 2 o'clock. Welcome everybody. Good to see you here. And there's already some chats on the Facebook page, and I just got my coffee, so I'm happy. Cool. Welcome. And like I said, it might be good to sort of introduce yourself in the chat. So we're doing this through Zoom, which gets automatically broadcasted to our Facebook page. And you can leave some comments and questions over there as well. But before we start, we'll introduce ourselves first. And in the meantime, feel free to share on the Facebook page in the comments where you are. And I can see people from sunny the noon already. Well, it's sunny in Inverness as well. So I'll start myself, and then I'll introduce my fellow presenters, Alistair and Emma as well. And I'll do that just now. There we go. Very good. Okay. Bit about myself. You probably know me by now. My name is René Looper, and I met most of you during those fabulous digital boost workshops for Business Gateway, all over the place, in Argyll, in Shetland, Orkney, and everything. And I have to say, I really enjoyed those face-to-face webinars, face-to-face workshops. But because of the circumstances we're in, we're not traveling to you. We're doing this digitally, and things have changed dramatically, as everybody knows by now. So I'm the owner and managing director of Tuminds Social Media. We started in 2006 with helping businesses with their digital presence, and mainly on social media. I'm not going to do the whole spiel because most of the people that are online already have met me before, so I'll spare you all the details. But what we're trying to do today is giving you some help, some tips, some advice on how to still get the most out of your social media. So that's me. I'm going to hand over to Alistair, who's going to unmute himself and say a couple of things about himself, and then we hand over to Emma.
Hey guys, most of you, I would imagine, have probably come across me as well in a similar kind of capacity to you'd probably have met René. So I'm also a trainer and consultant at Tuminds, delivering digital boost workshops. So again, similar to René, Argyll, Shetland, Orkney, Highland, Murray, here, there, and everywhere. At Tuminds, as I say, I am a trainer and consultant, but I also specialize in a few other kind of topics off the back of kind of social media, predominantly being likes of Google Analytics, paid advertising, and so on and so forth. I'll hand you over to my colleague, Emma, just to say hello as well.
Hello, everybody. My name's Emma, and I'm a content marketing executive for Tuminds, and basically I love to create content. I'm also a trainer, and I really enjoy teaching businesses about how to better make the most of social media and about content marketing. And I particularly love to teach businesses about creating engaging visual content.
Excellent. Emma, thank you very much for that, and Alistair for the introduction. It's good to have an introduction because there's still people sort of joining in from Aberdeen even. I see Hazel from Inverness, local. Good to have you here, and thanks for tuning in. There we go. Just to give people a little bit more time, Tuminds, we deliver training, social media training for individuals, for sales and marketing teams, business owners, and we do indeed a lot of the business gateway work all over the Highlands, Argyll, Shetland, Orkney, Murray, and helping businesses getting more out of their social media presence. Obviously, all our own workshops and the Business Gateway workshops are done online nowadays, and I will refer to the excellent webinars that Business Gateway is really stepped up, I have to say, in the last couple of weeks to sort of help us, because we're all in this together. You know, it's It's a weird period of time that we're in, and this is all new to us. It's new to everybody, but let's make the best out of a bad situation. So we're here today to answer some of your social media questions that we got with the hashtag #AskTuminds. Which some of you have done. I've got a whole list here of people that have already asked questions, and we'll go into them first. And once we dealt with those questions, we're then going into the questions that you can put into the chat on Facebook. I'll start off myself, and I have to say that the question that we often get asked is, should I still post on social media? I run a self-catering business. For the next couple of months, all my bookings have gone. What is the use of still posting on social media? I know some of the hotels actually have sort of announced that they've stopped their social media presence, but I think it's still important to keep the conversation going, purely because people are spending a lot of time at home. Nobody can go anywhere. They're spending a lot of time online. They're looking for things to learn. They're looking for support. So, you know, this is an important time to be online as well. And I'm actually going to share some of the posts I've noticed in the last couple of weeks and days. I'll see if I can bring that up just now. Here we go. Is a post of Simpsons Garden Center. There we go. Got that in screen. That's nobody can go to a garden center nowadays, but they've opened up their online shop in that sense. And they announced that fact on Facebook, on Twitter, and everything, because you know all the products are there. If they don't sell them, they're going to waste. So they opened up their online shop, and there's a lot of businesses that are using this time to make better use of these digital opportunities. There are e-commerce, selling online courses and that sort of things. So I'll see if I can share that with you. No, I need to go back. There we go, share screen. Bear with me, this is all new to me as well. So go. Yeah. What you should see on the screen just now, some two, I think, very good examples of posts that work really well. Simpson Garden Center, for example, on the left-hand side, exciting news, our online shop is now open. So, and you see the same with restaurants and offering homemade meals. So there's a lot of innovative ideas of things that we never thought of. That's because we can't do our normal things, we're now sort of experience new initiatives. And what I love about this as well, the community is really getting together, and the community is getting together on social media. And on the right hand side, I have an example of another client, Mitten, in Argyle, a fabulous sort of business. They make acrylic awards for events and everything, and they've completely sort of making different products now to help the NHS with the visors for the NHS and everything. So it's still good to be active on social media. The downside is if you're not active, you think, well, you know, nobody's coming anyway for the next couple of weeks, months, and everything. What is the use of posting? Actually, because we will get out of this when we're getting back probably months later, and there's not been a lot of activity on your Facebook page or Twitter account, that is not helping the reputation of your page and Twitter account in that sense. So it's important to be active on these platforms. Another example is again a sort of a local example. This is on LinkedIn, where a taxi company is meeting up with a wholesale company to deliver food packages to local businesses and everything. So a lot of businesses are actually getting together to see if they can help the community, and that's I think a very important thing to do. I've done on the left hand side, I've showed you a sponsored post that actually came up on my newsfeed yesterday on Facebook. You know, it's not about selling. I do agree with that. You know, you need to be careful with being too salesy in this period of time. But it's, you know, if you can offer something for free, something that can help people, don't hesitate to share that on social media. And John, a good friend of mine on LinkedIn, says exactly the same. This time it's not all about selling. It's about helping each other, spreading the correct sort of information. There's a lot of fake news on it as well. But you know, if there's a local initiative that is out there to help businesses or people or vulnerable people, share that on Facebook as well.
Just to kind of jump in there, Rennie, as well, I would totally agree that from an almost like an algorithm perspective, that the platforms don't want you to kind of drop off the edge and vanish. So if we're thinking about the kind of long-term strategy for pages and our online presence, that we need to make sure that we are kind of maintaining that presence in some way, so that when we do want to start being slightly more salesy or more driven, that we're not kind of starting from scratch again. Yeah.
Thank you, Alistair, for that. That's very good. I've got some questions in on Facebook as well. Lucy, for Visit Doornach, where to pitch our social media. We don't want to directly promote the area as no one can come, but equally we want to keep Doornach in people's minds. And Vivian actually responded to that, and that would be my response as well. If you look at Visit Scotland's social media presence, you know, they're very the latest video they shared, I've actually shared myself on Facebook with my friends, and on the page is, you know, we're far away, we can't see each other, but you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yep, that's it. And the content that Visit Scotland is actually putting out of it, although nobody can travel, it's keeping that engagement going, and people respond to that, and they got a lot of positive comments out of that. And it's you know, this is a humanitarian issue, so we need. It's very important to be aware of that, and I'll come back to that with the sales thing as well. It's okay, you can't be too salesy on social media, but we all understand, you know, we have bills to pay, so you know, it makes sense if you have an online shop and you're selling products that people have demand for. People still want to send gifts to their friends for Easter or for a birthday or an anniversary. So of course, if you have an online shop and you're selling those products, don't hesitate to promote it, but step it down a little bit and put it more on the sort of being helpful, being informative. And Emma, if I can bring you in as well, I think Twitter produced something, some tips on the type of content.
Yeah, I think Twitter and Instagram, and they've been kind of publishing tips for people, and according to Twitter, it was content that can inform or help your audience or connect or entertain. So I think exactly what you've just said there as well. I think it's about staying connected with your audience and providing something that's really helpful to them at this time is really important. And also we were talking about the entertaining side of things, you know, something that provides a little distraction. We shared some pictures of looking up 3D animals through Google on your phone, and I think it was quite a popular post on our page, wasn't it?
Indeed. I actually use that as an example as well. So I'll see if I can bring that up just now. And you know, when you posted that on Slack, because we have daily Slack meetings with the Tuminds team, and you found something that was very entertaining for your kids. And I thought, you know, that's lovely. That's great information. A lot of people must be struggling with and keeping their kids entertained. And it was a Google sort of tool that allows you to get those big animals in your living room by doing a search, a 3D search on your group. I'll just find it. It's longer away than I was hoping. Here we go. Let's see, just as an example, because I think it's a very good example actually of nothing to do with social media, but it's helping people. Yeah, and I highlight this as well. This is actually, and I have to say, this content does a really good job on sharing the right sort of content. So this is advice for tourism businesses who are obviously struggling big time. You know, here are some tips, sharing content during the COVID-19 period. And this is the post that's indeed got a lot of interaction and questions of people, how to get a tiger in your living room and everything. So that's what that does. But and Kate has the same thing as a sort of message on Facebook as well. It's doing a lot. Where is Kate? So you scroll down. Oh, here we go. What about sharing local small businesses, galleries, cafes, crafts, and everything? Obviously, cafes is difficult to visit nowadays, but you know, if they do, I've got an example actually in one of the slides where a local company is delivering breakfast, beautiful breakfast to people, and yeah, by all means, you know. If you see something in your community that is there to help others, engage with that, share that, and that's what this period is about now. That's very much about it. I think John mentions a local initiative here. Look at Highland COVID sites, where in the Highlands area, where you can sort of find out more about the shops that are open. In the Inverness area.
Yeah, there's been quite a few good Facebook posts shared by, I want to say it was Inverness Bid as well, just kind of highlighting businesses that are doing deliveries, businesses that are helping other businesses, and so on and so forth as well. So that kind of content, it touches again back on what Rennie was touching on, is that we need to add that human side back into it as well, and because we are all going through the same struggles, it's sometimes not just thinking about yourself. But by doing that kind of content, you're actually elevating your own business's kind of stature as well.
Absolutely. And all these organizations, you know, Visit Scotland, Inverness Chamber, FSB, Association of Self-Caterers, you know, they all do the same thing. They know everybody's struggling, but you know, here are some tips on how to do this, how to survive that, how to get for funding and all that sort of stuff. So that's the period where we are in now at the moment. So coming back to that question, should I post on social media? Yes, definitely keep that going and be part of that community. You know, I love to see, regardless where I go, on LinkedIn, on Twitter or Facebook, there's a lot of sort of people communicating with each other, business communicating with each other, and these are fabulous. If things are back to normal again, these are fabulous ways to keep that going in a sense, because you know, you never know what comes out of that. And I always feel, you know, okay, we're in a very negative period, but there is always something positive coming out of this, and it's important for your audience to be seen as part of that community. So I'll leave that question there. I'll see if I can share my screen, and then I'll read some messages that are coming in, because there's some good sort of questions coming there. So we'll go to the next slide, if that works. Yeah. So at the left, you see Caledonian Escapes, a business that's is self-catering. And you know, a very good message. Are you an NHS key worker and have to self-isolate? We've got a cottage you can use, and there is another local business on the right-hand side. Beautiful croissants for breakfast delivery. So it's I think these are all very good examples of sharing the right sort of content. Okay, Hazel Passmore. I'm actually getting quite hungry with that croissant image. Hazel Passmore asks, what is the best social app to use to keep in touch with people? Is it Zoom or House Party? Well, actually, that's a very good question. And these are different sort of apps. It really depends on what you want to achieve. Zoom. So this is on Zoom. And Zoom, we actually use Zoom to have team meetings because we're all working from home, obviously. And Emma, who was very well used to Zoom meetings because Emma works from a distance, remote working. So Emma doesn't believe what she's getting now. She's getting a lot of attention on a daily basis because of this sort of form of communication. House Party. I've heard about House Party as well. I think Fiona in our team, and who I know is listening as well, has made us aware of that and is using it herself as well. Emma, have you been using House Party, or Alistair?
I have used it just to keep in touch with friends. But I think I would prefer, but just personal choice, I would prefer Zoom. But I suppose it depends on your business and what you're using it for. But I think there are so many kind of video calling apps and things at the moment. Even something I was going to mention later, but even Instagram now have video calling. That's new, and they said that they sped up the launch of that because of coronavirus and because people are isolated and looking to these kind of video calling apps now.
Yeah, indeed. And you actually created a blog post before this all happened about the tools, the platforms that we're using ourselves in Tuminds before the whole coronavirus came in, and whereby, for example, that we use a lot as well is another good platform. There's so many platforms. I mean, Zoom gets a lot of attention, and I just read an article about in December Zoom had 10 million users. In March they had 200 million users. So they've gone through a massive growth. Skype, however, is lagging behind with that. Yeah, there's a lot of bad press about Zoom. I've noticed that as well. I mean, they're struggling with, you know, it's a fast-growing platform. And of course, if you grow from 10 million users to 200 million users, there are going to be some difficulties with sort of elements. But however, we've been using Zoom for quite a while. I'm very impressed with it. And if you compare it to Skype, I always had problems when we did Skype meetings. Zoom is a lot more easier, friendlier, better. I think Skype, Fiona made me aware of that as well. Skype is now sort of fighting back because Zoom gets indeed a lot of attention because it's so easy and to use in that sense. But Skype is another good platform to use. House Party, personally, I've got it on my phone, but I've not used it that often. I know Fiona is using it a lot.
Yeah, I was planning on installing House Party until I've just noticed it's been kind of mentioned in the chat as well that there was the
Chinese, yeah.
Almost. I'm trying to think out a word this tactfully, but almost the rumor of it being potentially malicious or having security issues regarding what it can and can't access on your phone as well. And myself and Fiona, again to mention Fiona, we're talking about it, and House Party themselves actually put out a press statement on it to say that it was almost like a smear campaign against their platform. And I could be wrong, but I think they've offered somewhere around $1 million as a reward if you can show them the security flaw, which probably goes to kind of shoot down that message. I wouldn't imagine they want to give out $1 million. Yeah.
No, I've read the same thing. I actually installed it on my phone. And then when I read the sort of the rumors that were going around that they have access to a lot more than just your accounts and everything, I took it away actually from my apps But it's coming back to your question, Hazel. It's really what you want to achieve. I think Zoom is very good in the sort of the meetings with sort of groups when we business groups in that sense, and we do a daily Zoom meeting with our team because it works so greatly. There are other tools as well. There's Duo, Google Duo. There's Google Hangouts, which we actually tried because we like to try different sort of things as well. But that's the sound quality wasn't that great actually. So there's lots of other things you can do online. Facebook Messenger I do with my family and friends. So we created a group on Facebook Messenger. Kate uses Whereby. I think Whereby is fantastic. It's very good, very easy. And by the way, everything that we mentioned today, we had a little chat before we started at 2 o'clock. Emma is going to create a blog post about this today. So every tool that we mention, Emma will put that in the blog post. Is that correct, Emma?
Yeah, I'll do that and put all the links as well. We should maybe mention with Zoom that the free option is limited to 40 minutes for meetings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, indeed, the free version of Zoom is indeed, it cuts off at 40 minutes. We upgraded to the paid version. It's $11.99 per month, and then it keeps going for 24 hours. But I find, compared to Skype, I find Zoom a lot easier to use. But there are very different types of online chat platforms out there. And GoToMeeting, for example, is another one. GoToWebinar. There are lots of different sort of things. Jitsi. I've never heard of Jitsi, Kate, but I'll find out. Jitsi.
Yeah, it's not one I've heard of at all. As Fiona's kind of pointing out, there's also the kind of WhatsApp call functionality as well, which is quite good for group chats. We actually were using it yesterday for my daughter to phone her cousin and stuff like that. So yeah, there's so many platforms out there. And one of the things that as a business that we did at the kind of start of this was trialing a few different platforms. And as Rennie kind of pointed out, we've kind of gravitated to using Zoom for specific reasons. But it doesn't mean just because we use it that it's the best solution for you as well. So it doesn't hurt to kind of try a few.
Yeah, a special wave to Alistair's mum. Our biggest fan on Facebook.
That means my dad's probably there too.
Yeah, right. Mum and Dad, Alistair, mum and Dad, biggest fans of Tuminds. Fantastic. Yeah, so what we'll do is, because I see lots of questions going in as well, and very good comments on that too. We'll create, or Emma will create a sort of a blog post with all these different things. And like Alistair said as well, I think it's very good. Just try out different things. That's what we do every week. We'll try out something else. Like I said, last week we said, oh, let's try Google Hangouts, which I've not used for a long time. But then we discovered, we went very quickly back to Zoom, I have to say, because purely it was a lot better for our use. Whereby is another one which a lot of people might not have heard of, but Kate mentioned it there as well. And again, it's so easy to use. So yeah, see which one you like and use that one as well. Cool. Right. I think I'll go to Emma actually, because we had a question about Instagram. Oh yeah, that was one of the first questions that came in. How do you repost on Instagram?
Yeah, that was, excuse me, that was a good question that came in when we were asking people to send us their questions beforehand. So sharing user-generated content, so images that are taken by other people, is a great way to tell your brand story. And at the moment, it's also something to think about when we talked earlier about kind of content and what content to share. So you could, you need to make sure that you have permission before you repost anything. That's the most important. So even if you have a hashtag, so some people on Instagram might have a hashtag in their bio that encourage people to use with their images, I would still send a direct message to the person that you want to use the photo and say, really loved your photo. Is it okay if we share it? Just so that you've got written consent first. So personally, I like to just take a screenshot and then resize it and then share it and then tag the owner of the photo and give credit to them. But there are also a number of third-party apps that you can use for reposting, such as Repost for Instagram. So in the blog post, I'll leave a link to, there's an article that's that I've referenced before in a blog post, and it goes into step-by-step detail about 3 different repost apps that you can use, and also the screenshot option for how to do that. So I hope that answers your question, but yeah, there'll be some more information in that link that will help you.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you, Emma, for that. There was one question: how would you use social media to communicate your business might fold as there are no sales? Would create a campaign asking for help be good? I think that would definitely, you know, I think a lot of businesses are in this period now where there's absolutely no sales coming in, and asking for help is not a bad thing to do. We'll come back to it later with Instagram. Instagram is sort of trialing out buying gift vouchers as well. But I see a lot of businesses, hotels, restaurants, and people, you know, support your local business. There was actually a very good post from someone else. You know, if it was in different words, but it came down to mainly this. You know, we've been helping you with gifts for your football club and all that sort of stuff. Now it's time to support us. And I think, you know, is if we're looking for freebies from retailers or from businesses for awards or auctions or that sort of things, you know, these businesses are always the first one to sort of help the local community. And I think it's now time for the community to help local businesses, because people do understand when there's no income coming in at all. Yes, you know, don't hesitate to fact, you know, if you don't support us, then we're going to be out of business. And I think that's don't hesitate to do that. I think I've seen it in the past as well, the last couple of weeks, where some businesses, you know, to get out, to make sure we survive this period, please support us with a voucher, or at least don't cancel your deposit or your booking come later in that sense. So hopefully that answers that question. Lucy, there's one for you as well. Emma, Lucy Williams asks, what about sharing in stories? Would you still ask permission? Yeah, you got a good question. You got a good example for that.
Yeah, it's funny that that's coming up today. When I share, if I was sharing in stories, I would just always make sure that I tag the original person that posted it. So somebody actually shared one of my own images this morning and then somebody else picked it up in their stories, and there was no credit to me as the original poster. So if you are sharing, yeah, I don't think you need to kind of ask permission the same way if you're reposting on your grid, but I often do share other images or posts on both Tuminds on my own, and I just make sure that I've always credited the original poster. I don't know, do you agree, Alistair?
Yeah, I would say it just goes back to that kind of crediting the source that it's come from.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see Sheila is watching as well. Hi, Sheila. Our first Tuminds team member. Now moved away, but still in our minds. Thanks, Sheila. Verity says, hello all, would appreciate advice on best platform on which to read my award-winning novel, Major Tom's War, aloud chapter by chapter, so folk can listen for free. I use WhatsApp and Twitter and Facebook and have a blog, dipping my toe into Zoom. So is this more podcast, Alistair, you think?
Yeah, I'm just kind of reading that question just now as well, because the first thing that came to my head would be something like SoundCloud.
Yeah.
It would probably depend on if it was just something you wanted to be available kind of like in the now, or if it's something that you wanted to be available forever digitally. If it was something in the now, I'd potentially use something like what we're doing just now, using Facebook Live or Instagram or something along those lines. But if it's something that you're happy to stay online for much longer periods, potentially podcasting, or say something like SoundCloud, which is audio driven.
Yeah, I think SoundCloud is a very good advice there. Very good. John Murray, thank you very much for that. Janie asks, is the hashtag repost to be used as standard to make it clear it's a repost, or is it up to the user? Emma, for you again.
Yeah, I would always use that if I was reposting something. I pretty much would use in the hashtags below, I would use repost as well. I think that as long as you're crediting the person who took the photo, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, very good. I agree with that. Hope that helps, Jenny. And Kate comes back to Verity, maybe a Facebook Live to generate audience and record to their own blog and YouTube. All good examples for that as well, Verity. Hope that helps. Cool. Excellent. There's a lot of questions coming in, which is great. I actually said to Emma and Alistair, well, we're going to be finished in half an hour, but we're well over a half an hour now. We're not even answered all the questions that have been sent in. Yes. This question comes a lot, actually. Facebook advertising. I tried Facebook adverts, but had negligible results or sales. I hardly had any results or sales. Any tips and pointers? Yeah, I do actually. Facebook advertising can be a very good tool to reach the right sort of people, customers. It's also a very easy tool to spend a lot of money and not getting the right sort of results. It all depends on the targeting of your customers. And I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make is to target too big an audience of 50,000, 30,000, 20,000, 10,000. That's way too big. You need to really go niche, and that's what you can do in Facebook. And Emma will share that in the blog as well, a link to advanced Facebook advertising. The trick with Facebook advertising is not reaching 20,000, 50,000 people. It's sometimes 2,000 people. Sometimes it's even less than 1,000 people. And I know Facebook comes up with this warning: this is too low of an audience, but it will still post it. It's but you're not spending too much money on that advert, but more important, you're reaching the right sort of people. So you need to really niche in on your audience. And when you go to Facebook advertising, you can indeed put in that box the sort of the interest that people have. But if you put too many of these interests in, you're diluting your audience in that sense. So put one or two interests in that first box, and then click on the narrow audience link underneath it, and then go put some more interest in there as well. So it's not people have an interest in or this or this or that. They must have an interest in this, but they must also have an interest in that. So for example, if someone wants to target people with young kids that are looking for educational gifts, toys, or all that sort of stuff, targets people with children in a specific age group. That's the first interest you need to fill in. And then you need to go out of that box, narrow down your audience, and target people who have an interest in educational gifts, etc., etc. So also don't target the whole of the UK. There's way too much. Do it per area in that sense. So most of the times when people say my advert didn't work, the reason for that is they targeted a too big audience in that sense. So hopefully that helps. Hazel Passport says the same thing. Not found that too helpful. Again, it's the trick with advertising, and it's not new because of social media. It's basically the more you know about your customers, where do they live, what are their interests, the way what books do they read, what websites do they go to. The more you know about your customer, the better you can target them. And I know a lot of businesses that get very, very good results, but they don't just do one advert. They look at the different target audience they want to reach, and they make this advert for that audience, this advert for that audience, etc. So hopefully that helps. And again, you know, there are a lot of good Facebook webinars by Business Gateway where that can be sort of explained. But also in the blog post that I'm just going to write, we'll put in some more information there, because a lot of people do ask that question. Leah says, what is the best platform to create a website for my community project? Okay, well, there's lots of community projects that are using Weebly, Wix, WordPress, Squarespace. Alistair, you probably have some more tips on that as well.
Yeah, that was the exact series that I could run through. Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, WordPress as well. It probably depends on, are you wanting to financially invest in the website, or are you just looking for a free website? And then weighing up if there's any functions or features that you would really like it to have. Most of the platforms that we've ran through have like a free package and then different tiered paid options. It could be, for talking's sake, that you want to have a community online store. If that's the case, you might need to actually spend some money to get to that point.
Yeah, totally. No, there's very, very good examples on Weebly, Wix, Squarespace, WordPress. WordPress, I would recommend if you have a little bit more knowledge about website technology in that sense. Weebly, Wix, and Squarespace, they advertise themselves as you don't have to have any technical knowledge, know-how to be able to put your website live. There's more drag and drop in that sense, so that they're much easier to use. WordPress, that's more for the next step, I would say. What do you think, Alistair?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. WordPress normally requires probably the most technical ability, and it's more the other ones are geared up to kind of be drag and drop editors, whereas WordPress isn't quite at that point yet.
Yeah, exactly. Hazel says thank you, and John says, are there tips to increase activity on tweets? Good. I know you're very active on not just on LinkedIn but also on Twitter, John. It's a very good question. It's again the hashtags, but not too many hashtags. I always say on Twitter it's about the content. You only have 280 characters, so it's about the content first, and to help people finding that content, adding 2 or 3 hashtags would be a good way to link to people that have an interest in the same sort of hashtag. So if you're tweeting about an initiative in Inverness, obviously you would use the hashtag Inverness. If it's Helensburgh, Argyll, all that sort of stuff. So that's the first tip I would give. The other tip is adding visuals to the tweets. So not just words but also visuals. There could be a GIF, or it could be an image. Make sure that that image is not copyright and everything. Mentioning other people in your tweet, and I know you do that as well, John, to sort of create visibility to your tweets. But I'm a big fan of the organic reach. If you're sending out useful content, interesting content, then your reach will automatically grow because you're getting more engagement. People are liking it, sharing it, and that's what I think. Regardless if it's Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, sharing the right sort of content to the correct platform, not just one type of content, and that goes to all these platforms. This one is for Facebook, this one is for Twitter, and sometimes that can overlap. You know, what I do on Facebook can sometimes also go to Twitter. But it's as long as your tweets are getting engagement, likes or comments or share, then the more people will see it. And I think that's the biggest way of getting more reach in that, but also using the right sort of hashtags. Alistair, any?
Yeah, I was going to say just to jump in on that as well. I would say that not knowing John, I don't know how active he is on Twitter, but normally another thing is to make sure that you're actively engaging with people as well. So not just hoping people find your content, but you actively seeking out other people to interact with as well normally drives more interaction of your own content.
You don't know John yet. Oh, you're missing out. You're missing out. John is very active on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'll introduce you to. No doubt he will already have found you on Twitter and followed you. So. But yeah, correct, Alistair. It's not just your content. It's indeed that retweeting, resharing of others. Am I anything to add to that? No,
I'm just going to say the same things that you guys are
yeah. Very good. Kate says, I use Weebly and find it great, free and paid sites. It's really what your preference is. Some people love Weebly, don't like Wix, and vice versa. Fiona, thank you very much for the comments. Colin Campbell, how relevant are hashtags at the end of a Facebook post? Yes, that's another question. Right. To be honest, I don't like hashtags in a Facebook post. They work really well, obviously, on Instagram and Twitter, and I know LinkedIn is pushing them as well. Personally, I've never clicked on a Facebook hashtag or a hashtag in a Facebook post. I think it's more confusing than anything, and so I'm not a big fan of hashtags on Facebook. I know they work. I know when you click on them, you get a stream of posts with the same hashtags. But to be honest, apart from doing it during workshops, clicking on a hashtag, I would never click on a hashtag. It's more confusing. Emma, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't. If I see them, I just think it's been automated from Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've never clicked on them either.
Yeah, very good. John, thank you very much. Where is the cake?
Yeah, where's cake?
You're so right, John. We finished all the cake. We had cake, but we've been not out for 3 weeks, so there's no cake left. Do you know of a cake delivery service? Very good, very good. Okay, we're getting through the questions quite easily. Let's. There was something else on Instagram, wasn't there?
Yeah, somebody asked about selling on Instagram. So yes. Again, I'm actually in the middle process of writing a blog post about selling on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, because we thought that would be quite helpful. You can set up shopping on Instagram if you have a catalogue on your Facebook page. If you have an Instagram business account, and if your Facebook page is connected to your Instagram account, and also if your business complies with their commerce policies. So again, I'll put all this in the blog post with some useful links, because it's quite a lot to cover just now, but you basically just need to kind of follow the steps. So you have to connect your Facebook catalog to your Instagram business account first, and you do that in Catalog Manager, which is facebook.com/products. And then once you've done all the stages there, you can go into Instagram, go into your profile settings, into business, and then Instagram shopping, and then you kind of follow the steps there. Once you've done that, you need to go back into Instagram shopping and kind of complete the setup. And it can take a few days for it to kind of all be approved. But once you've done that, then you can start tagging your products in your posts. I'm sure if you've been on Instagram, you can see that I don't know about Rennie and Alistair, but I actually buy quite a lot of things from Instagram, from clicking on posts that have products, and it gives you the price and a description, and then goes straight through to the page on the website. So you can have up to 5 tags in a post and 1 in your story as well, per story. So again, I'll put some links and helpful information on selling on Instagram if that's what you're looking for.
Very good, Emma. Thank you very much. And while you were talking, I was sharing the slides that we prepared to show how to set up selling on your Instagram account, because it only works on a mobile, of course. And in the meantime, Kate's going to be delighted that she's getting more attention on her shop again. So basically what Emma said is absolutely correct. You need to be able to sell through Instagram, you need to have a shop functionality on your Facebook page, and this is a very good example of having a shop here. And I love these products as well, Kate. And and it goes back to your website if you have an e-commerce website, or it goes to PayPal. And I will come back to your question, Kate, that you asked about PayPal, and I will show you how that works. But basically, you need to first set up a Facebook shop, and from there, because Instagram is owned by Facebook, from there you can then select, I want to sell through Instagram as well. Like Emma said, we'll put it on the blog post, the steps you need to take to do that. Yeah. The other thing that I always mention during e-commerce workshops is the PayPal me dot link. So if I go back here, this is an easy way for businesses to sell their products and for customers to buy your products, and that goes with a PayPal.me link. So and that's what we advised Kate to do as well, is if you don't have a full-blown e-commerce site, you could send people to paypal.me, and you create your own paypal.me link, which we've done, and what Kate has done as well. Let's see if we can move this about a little bit. Yeah. So if I type in paypal.me /Tuminds, because it's personalized, and then /10 for £10. When I share that link, people can buy a product that costs me £10. Yeah, and it's linked to PayPal. Some people click on next, then I get paid by PayPal or by credit card in that sense. So it's an easy way to do that. Now I know Kate asked a question because you do sell those lovely magazines. If we go to your shop, and because you're selling magazines for the same price, they're all $3.50, so they all have the same link. So when people buy a specific product, and I go to the PayPal link that you provided, it says that it cost me £3.50, but then you don't know which magazine you bought. Now, what you can do, and I'll see if I can log in. Oh yeah, and I've already prepared something for you so you can see it. In the notes or in the more about, you can see please add reference number in the notes when ordering a magazine. Yeah. So when I buy one of your products, here we go, click on next. I log in. You can put in the notes there what people need to do before they click buy. And that sits in here. So you can add a note. I like the winter edition, for example. Yeah. So you can put in your PayPal me link, you can put a little note before you order. Make sure in the note section, let me know which edition you want to buy. So hopefully that works for you. Right, I saw some other questions and people helping each other. So Marion, I think, sharing that she's using Squarespace, which is my favorite as well, actually. Yeah, Marion is sharing, she uses Squarespace, and it's a link just to see what that looks like. Instagram is a selling platform. Yeah, Gavin, I hope that answered your question. Yeah, very good. Koalo, never heard of that one, but that's, oh yeah, you mentioned it at the last workshop, that's right. And the blog post will be very useful. Perfect. Well, I think we're sort of getting near the end. Good. I was attempting to add a booking button to a Facebook page for self-catering, but it could get so far, but it would appear more like I was a place. All right, okay, I'll see if I can, because I still have my screen open here. Did I see somewhere you would need a minimum amount of follower? No, definitely not. If I go to my training page, you could, and this is another thing that a lot of people don't know. If you go to your settings, You have different templates and tabs, and there are specific templates for if you want to sell something, shopping template. There's different sort of templates. Here we go, business, venue, and they all have the different sort of buttons. So for a restaurant and cafe, you have a different layout. So let's go for a business. Here we go. Few details. And your page will not dramatically change, but some buttons will be hidden. And if I go to the page, hi Martin, my brother is watching. From visitors from Holland, send cake. Here we go. So where it says book now, you can edit the button and make a booking with you. Book now. And then if you have an online booking platform, you can put the link in there. So appointments on Facebook or link to website. If you have your own website, you can put in the booking link in there, and that's where it will appear. So hopefully that works. Oh, no. No, if you book now, I'll do it again, book now. Link to website. This is more appointments on Facebook in there, but link, if you have your own online booking tool on your website, free to book or super control or anything else, you just put the URL in here. Yeah, happy to help if you're struggling with that. Send us a direct message on Facebook if you need more help. Okay, right. PayPal, we've done that one. We might have, oh yeah, a little bit of tips as well. Google My Business. That's another question that a lot of people have asked. I'm closed now. Should I change my opening times on Google My Business? Actually, all these platforms, Google, Facebook, they all want to help. And Google My Business have created, here we go. If you post, there's a specific COVID-19 update. So you can actually create a post to let people know that you're closed just now. You don't know when you're going to open, but let people know that you're closed. You can also, what they've done here is added a specific new, what is it? Temporarily close my business. So go to info. You can temporarily close your business, mark as temporarily closed. That would say then on Google My Business that for next couple of months, probably you're going to be closed. The downside of that obviously is that you won't come up with Google Maps and everything, but you know, if your gallery, your cafe, your restaurant is closed, that might be an option to do in that sense. Sounds a bit drastic. It is a bit drastic, but we're living in strange times. So that means basically on Google My Business, on the right hand side, I'll just show you where that sits. Oh, not there. Sorry. That will then, under the picture of your location, it will say temporarily closed here, or you can adjust your opening times. But Google says as well, it's the hours of service may differ. Yeah, okay, cool. Right. Oh. And can you have a book now and shop now button at the same time? I did see that. There are ways you can have two buttons on your Facebook page. That's Enora? Yeah, Enora. You have a book now and a shop now button. You need to, it has a specific template that you need to have a look at. I don't know by heart which template it is, but I've seen it with other businesses. They have two buttons. One says sends us a message, the other says book now, or something like that. If you don't see that button, you can always add it in your tab section. And again, we'll put that in the blog post. And Emma Lawson says helpful advice from Martin Lewis on Twitter, furloughing. Yeah, that as well. So you know, there's a lot of information out there to help businesses in these difficult times. Okay, where are we now? Yeah. Google Business. Everyone is shut now. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. Yeah, on Google My Business, the house next door keeps coming up as my main photo. I know this is very, very annoying. I've seen that with lots of other businesses as well, where you type in your business name and a photo, not a location, but the photo comes up from the house next door. If it's a location, you can change it. But I understand from your question, it's a photo of the house next door. If there's probably someone else's photo that tagged themselves on that location, that's very difficult to get rid of. You could, there is in the three dots, you could report this photo to say this is not my business. And some of the people the business we've helped with did that. But it's sometimes difficult to remove that. So have a look if that picture, click on that picture, the three dots at the top, I think it is, and you can report that picture, and then you go to a drop down to say, why is this picture, why is that not good? And to say it's not a true representation of my business. So you could get rid of it. Okay, excellent. Well, this was a full hour, full on with a lot of questions. Really loved it. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Emma, have I forgotten something?
I think that was all the questions I think that we had beforehand. So I think we've covered all of those.
Yeah. You had an Instagram tip about was it gift cards?
Oh yes. So I think you mentioned it earlier. There's been a few things in testing at the moment, but one of them is the option for business accounts to have a link for people to buy gift cards or make a donation. So they think that'll be through a new profile button, which will sit alongside follow and message. So again, not much is known about this at the moment, but it is in testing. And I think that the article that I read anyway said that they think it's a way to help businesses at the moment, so people can still support local businesses by buying gift cards that can then be used in the future when this is over. So I think there's also, as well as the button, the profile, there would also be a sticker that you can use in stories, which you can tap and go straight through that way. So interesting. We'll let you know if we find anything else about it.
Perfect. Alistair, anything to add?
The only other couple of things that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks were two on Twitter. One is that Twitter in the process of updating the Explore tab, which kind of goes back to John's question actually about potential interaction. So in theory, your Explore tab should now try to pull to your kind of nearest city from that side. So if you go to Explore and then click on the little cog up beside the search button, you can see what city it's flagged to, or if it's just to the UK for talking's sake. So if you want your content to be seen by more people in your own area, it might not hurt to also turn on things like geolocation on your tweets. So that in theory, if I'm tweeting just now, it's showing us that the tweets are coming from Inverness, so that drops more into that local Explore. The other thing is Twitter in the process of also reworking their lists functionality into a new item called channels. And they've kind of pushed this more for people that have large Twitter accounts that want to try and streamline or spend less time looking at all the other content, and you can almost just home in on specific topics. The only other thing that I was going to actually bring up was, I don't know if anyone else spotted this, that YouTube have said that they're going to try and battle TikTok by launching their own new platform integrated into YouTube called YouTube Shorts.
Okay.
So for anyone that either uses TikTok or their kids might use TikTok, it could be that if you're looking at that kind of short video content, that maybe YouTube or Google have a solution for you for that side of things as well.
Excellent, excellent. I love TikTok. Very funny videos on TikTok. Perfect. Okay. Well, I really enjoyed it tremendously. Got a lot of good stuff here. We just thought, you know, a couple of weeks ago, we said there was a lot of questions of people coming in, and instead of helping people on a one-to-one basis, why don't we send it out to the bigger audience? So that's how it started. And thanks, Alistair and Emma, for joining me in this session. I really enjoyed it. I'm actually tempted to say, shall we do it again next week?
Yeah. See what people say in the comments if they want us to go again.
Yeah. Yes. Let's ask the audience. Let's ask the audience. So
leave a comment if you want
to come back. If you want us to come back next week, we can do it again. Tuminds at 2 on Tuesday. It's quite nice. We'll go through all the questions that you have asked. Maybe you have missed some questions. Emma will put it in a blog post. We'll send it out on our website, and we'll share it on the social media platforms. I need to double check with Alistair and Emma before I commit to it. But yeah, I'm very tempted to do this again next week. But let's see what the audience says. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Happy to help. And we're all in this together. You know, it's a difficult period just now, but I think, you know, in times where things are difficult, there's always something that comes out of it that is better than it was before. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm ready for tea and cake. And thank you very much all. Thank you, and hope to see you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thanks not only for Alistair and Emma, but also Fiona and Pamela in the background who've been dealing with the questions as well. So thank you very much.